Before we jump in, this episode is powered by What's Podcasting. It helped me handle all the behind the scenes magic, editing, publishing, and more. If you're thinking of starting a podcast or want help with yours, check the link in the description to see more about What's Podcasting. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Musa Obed Podcast, a space for deep and honest conversations about life, complexity, creativity, and the human experience. Today, I'm speaking with Nesochi Mogbolu. Nesochi is Nesochi is a complete package, and I think along the lines of these conversations, you realize why. So, Nesochi was in the same secondary school with me. We basically were also in the same house, and a lot of our experiences, our shared experiences, right, comes from senior secondary school. And in these conversations, we just talk about some of those things, some of Nesochi's, what I say, notorious stereotypes and periods in his life in school, whereby he had a very, very interesting way of doing things. Also in this conversation, we will discuss a bit about Nesochi and faith, and basically like his own journey in faith and how he has been able to grow from that perspective as well. This conversation, happened spontaneously, so forgive the background noise that you might hear at the beginning, or the latency problems that might happen in between the episodes. All in all, I really enjoyed this conversation with Nesochi. He's a very, very personal friend, and I hope that you'll find this conversation meaningful. Consider sharing it to people that you think will enjoy the conversation as well, and with people that might learn one or two things from the in-between from my conversation with Nesochi. Thank you, everybody, and now here's my conversation with Nesochi Mogbolu. Okay, hello guys, welcome to another episode of the Musa Obed Podcast. This is the most spontaneous, right, conversation that I probably had. Literally, we were on the WhatsApp chat 5 minutes ago, and we're like, let's do it, and we're doing it. And so here we are in the conversation with Nesochi Mogbolu Emmanuel. First of all, Nesochi, how are you? There's so many dimensions to this conversation. But first, how are you?
I'm good. God is helping me. The short answer is that I really enjoyed a lot of favor and mercy from God. So if you know anybody who has enjoyed favor and mercy from God, just think about that person. That's exactly how I'm doing.
Okay. Bro, yeah, you don't misplace my leg. I don't even know how to continue. We thank God. Thank God for favor in your life. Thank God for mercy. Why did you is this how you respond to how I use?
Yes, this is how I respond to how are you.
Interesting. Okay, I see. I guess the chapel prefects really paid off. We'll call to it. Well, anyways, guys, as you guys normally know, there's a flow to how I have these conversations. Nesochi is one of the people that has this every single episode on the Musa Obed Podcast. So, appreciate. Normally we'll talk about your growing up, your early days, right? Nesochi Junior. And then we'll now obviously talk about the culprit and the elephant in the room, the Fit Academy. Then I think I'm actually very interested in knowing your own, CU / post CU days, because you left CU, you came back again, and then you still have a lot of connections in one way or the other. It's giving I want to be an ordained pastor soon. But we'll get there if that's the case. So Nesochi, what was your childhood like? People want to know if you had traumas.
I think the word trauma is relative. So for anybody to tell me that I had trauma, I have to first of all know their understanding of trauma. For instance, some people were flogged as children, right? And in their own opinion, that's traumatic. Another person might see that flogging as a shaping, or because I was flogged, I'm not who you are today. Another person is saying because I was flogged, that is why I like inflicting pain. So the word trauma is quite relative. So it's very difficult to answer that question.
Like, bro, you're not making this conversation easier. Like, okay. but wait.
So what I'm asking is, if you're asking if I was traumatized, I need indicators for measurements so that I can say, okay, based on these indices, I was traumatized.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Like it's so funny because I would normally talk like you're talking, but on being on the receiving end now is actually very, very one kind. So trauma indicators, right? I think from on a Nigerian standard, part of discipline was a bit of cane here, cane there. But I would say more, there's an extreme to it and there's an abuse to it. And let's not focus on the trauma really. Let's focus on like your own childhood. Like what was it like? That's the most important thing, right? Where did you grow up? Where were you born? Where were you raised? What exactly were you doing as a child? Interest and all.
Okay. I was born in Port Harcourt. I spent the first 6 years of my life in Port Harcourt. My dad got transferred to Abuja, and so after he spent, I think, a year and some months in the hotel, we came to join him before they finally gave us an apartment of our own. So
yeah, that hotel statement, just the hotel statement makes me know he works in an oil company. I wanted to ask, but as you said, he's trying to get in the hotel. I'm like, it has been confirmed.
Yeah, so we came to Abuja, and I feel like, so at the time, a lot of things were going on. I didn't understand. So in my opinion, I felt like my dad was being unreasonable sometimes or being harsh. But like as I've grown up now, I'm beginning to understand that from his own perspective, it was his attempt of making up for the time that I wasn't around. So maybe he felt like we're not disciplined enough and all those things. My dad never abused me or assaulted me, but I was disciplined with a rod, as time or as often as it was required. And I'm of the opinion that those are some of the things that helped shape the course of my life, because I know I have a very serious tendency to be wayward. So, that rod of correction was my saving grace. So that's about it with the relationship with my dad. I went to primary school at Redeemers.
Sorry. Let me just pause you a bit, Nesochi. When you say you had a tendency to be wayward, what are the indicators and measures?
Okay, so for instance, I have my mind is not always coordinated. Sometimes I look at somebody and I'm just thinking about, when I was growing up, thinking about how I can maybe beat the person up or steal from the person. Like sometimes I just receive some thoughts. I used to think that they were normal childhood thoughts, but as I began to converse with other people, I realized that it was not normal. It was just a recalcitrant child being groomed by the devil until that road came, So I remember there was a time, and of course I was also very stubborn. I remember there was a time that I was corrected in school, in primary 2. And like I took it off on my teacher, Mrs. Alabi, then that's her name. And like my snacks, I flung it on the ground. Like I just started displaying, that night. my dad had to, reset me. So those are some of the things that I knew that if I had followed this route, if my dad didn't put that extra caution to make sure that this boy, sometimes I want to go out to say, don't go out. Those are some of the disciplines that he put in place to make sure that I wasn't too, wild. And it helped. I mean, because I didn't go out, I started playing chess. I didn't have a console, so I had to start playing chess. I had to start reading. I read Anthony Horowitz. I read the whole of the Alex Rider series, the whole of the Power of Five. This book I'm telling is in volumes. Alex Rider, I think, is in 8 volumes. Each book is over 100 pages. As at GS2, I had consumed all of the Alex Rider series. I'd consumed. I read a lot. That's the best way to put it. And it's because of all of these, measures. When my mates are thinking about how to go to play, I'm looking for the book that I can read, so that to keep my mind busy. And I started playing chess. Chess helped me a lot, helped my coordination. And at a point, chess was feeding me because things started getting rough. And when I beat you in chess, you pay for it. So that's my primary school was okay.
What's this Queen Gambit narrative you're pushing right here? Like,
no, I'm just saying that because I didn't. If I had the opportunity to go out as much as I wanted to, I wouldn't have.
Yeah.
Yes, and of course my music as well. My music, because I was always at home with a keyboard and a guitar. So when I was not reading and I didn't have a chess partner to play with, I was on the keyboard. So
what primary school did you go to? What was the name?
I attended Redeemer's private school. Redeemer's private school, Wuse 2, just off the Glow office.
Oh, okay. In Redeemers, like, I mean, I know there's scared chambers, and, a lot of the times, like, Redeemer Secondary School and Faith Academy is always being compared. I guess, like, Redeemer's primary and K chambers will be compared to, but, like, knowing the experience, like, in Faith Academy, like, are there similarities, whereas in the structure? Is it just in normal primary school? Were there like embedded activities that, let's say, shadowed redeem philosophies and doctrines as a church into the school?
Not shadow. The way I put it, like there was no conflict in ideologies. Because if you even know the history of Living Faith well, Papa is a son of Pastor David Adeboye. So there were not really much differences. It's just the regular Christian missionary school. We used to do joint carols. I mean, joint carols were the highlight of my entire stay because Redeem had like 4 or 5 different branches, including there was Desire of Nations, there's Redeemer's Tip, there's my school. I think there's another one. Then they now had the secondary school. And during Christmas Carol, all of the schools, like celebrated Christmas.
Were they all in Abuja?
Yes, all these ones I mentioned now are in Abuja. So all of them will choose a particular location, maybe at Redeemer's Tip or one of them. We did joint rehearsal. The first time I played the motif keyboard, the first time I played the keyboard without transpose, like it was all these kind of experiences because like I was kind of a champion in my own school. Then you go to a place and realize that this guy does not transpose. In fact, I remember there was a song that I had scored. I had scored the song, we were ready. Then they changed the location last minute. When we landed the location, the keyboard didn't have transpose. And that song was to be sung on A flat. My God. It was the Holy Spirit. I mean, it's not today the Holy Spirit started showing up for me. That was one of the times that he stepped in and like it wasn't that much of a disaster. So yeah, Redeemers. And then I went to
I don't even understand what you just said in the sense of like you score, you transpose. I'm like, what's this guy talking about?
The score is To score a song is to musically listen to a song. When you listen to a song and when I listen to a song, there are different things. When I listen to a song, I hear the software notations, I hear the arrangement of the instruments. When I was doing my masters, I led the choir. I was privileged to lead the choir alongside praise, very wonderful leading. And so at that stage, when I listen to a song, I listen to both the instruments and the parts. I listen to how did the soprano do it? Where are they singing melody? Where are they parting? You just listen to the song for vibes, maybe lyrics. But most of the time, when you score a song, scoring a song, simply put, is listening to a song with the intention to reproduce it. I think that's the best way to put it.
Before you even move anywhere again, like how did music come about for you? Like I know that so let me just tell you a moment I will never ever forget in my life. It was a morning where I think you like the whole school first of all you like you're a boss, right? Like playing keyboard, but it was a morning that national anthem, you're playing it with Ben 10, like background. Like I don't even know how to explain what you did, but you're playing Ben 10 on like national anthem. I think that morning, like people are not even singing. People are just looking at you. Like, what is happening? Like like it's normally boring now, like playing keyboard for national anthem, and then all of a sudden you just pull that off one day. I'm like, and by the way, I'll just say this too, like Nesochi is one that I've played like was it national anthem or like I think was it Fit Academy anthem? I can't remember.
Yes,
one of it
was national anthem.
National anthem. I played this like in a morning this thing once, and it was like because of you. So let me ask back, like how did music start for you?
Okay, so there was a day that I went for a wedding. My mom is a choir member up till now, so she has always been a choir member. We went for a wedding, and after the wedding, other people had gone. The wedding was on a Saturday, obviously. There was service on Sunday. But because the wedding was in my church,
how old were you? How old were you?
The choir couldn't. I was in primary 3, so I was like 8, 7, 8 thereabouts.
Okay.
Yes, I was about 7, 8 years. I went for a wedding, like I said, and after the wedding, people had gone for the reception, but because our church was trying to save time, they will have not been able to call choir members back for to finish their rehearsal for Sunday ministration. So my mom stayed back with them while other people had gone for the reception. So they did like 30 minutes rehearsal. During that 30 minutes, as a child, I was very restless. I was jumping up and down. And my jumping up and down led me to where they were doing the music, the rehearsal rather. So when I got there, I started, making noise, like disturbing. They were trying to pull me down. I couldn't stay. So they now finally sent me away. I went back to meet my dad. And I told my dad I wanted a keyboard. This was on a Saturday. And I just said it casually to my dad. When my dad was coming back from work on Monday, he came with a keyboard. And that was just like the beginning. It started by me playing, there are demo songs on the keyboard. I'll be trying to, repeat what they are doing. And then I think they changed the teacher.
He has scoring the demo, right?
He now
scoring the demo.
yeah, I can use that word. So the music teacher, they brought Mr. Lekon before they later brought Mr. Peter. They brought Mr. Lekon. Mr. Lekon made all of us buy recorder. When I picked up a recorder, it wasn't difficult for me. Mind you, at the time, I was already beginning to struggle with my academics. Like, I wasn't really doing so well, especially because when I was coming from Port Harcourt, it seemed like there was a different, what's it called now? They had a different itinerary in terms of a different syllabus. Yes, that's the word. So I was struggling academically. But when I picked up a recorder, it was flowing. So the things that I learned on the recorder, I took them home. I started trying to replicate it on the keyboard. And then my parents realized that, oh, I was interested. So they started asking this Mr. Lincoln from school to come to our house to teach us. So most of my foundation, Mr. Lincoln taught me discipline for chords. Because I remember that time we sellotape my finger, flog it with drumstick, because my other a chord is like basic chords, major chords, 3. The other fingers that are not playing the chords kept on interrupting it. He kept on, flogging. So he taught me discipline. Then he left, and then Mr. Peter came in. Mr. Peter was, in fact, the foundation of my music. It came with Smallwood. Smallwood is a musical piece. Anybody that's listening to this now that has a musical history will know Smallwood. Came with Smallwood, started teaching me, Mozart pieces and all those things. And it was very easy for me. Music is something that I have never struggled with in any way. If I have not learned anything in music right now, it's because of laziness. It's not that I won't be able to do it. It comes naturally. A lot of things that people, take their time to learn came to me on a platter of gold. And since it was easy, I was like, so, at a point, I remember I told my mom to study music. She almost dazed me. But yeah, that's how it started. So when I got to FA in GSS 1, Black Emeka, then there was a particular variety night they did. That first time we came, I played keyboard. I think I played keyboard with somebody. I can't remember if it was Ogochukwu or Ojonugwa, somebody that we went, because these guys were also with me in Redeemer's Private School. So we came together in FA. I think we did something. And Black Emeka was like, wow, you can also play keyboard like this. So he took me under his wings. He became my school father.
Wait.
Black Emeka was my first and only school father.
Black Emeka was your school father?
Oh, boy.
It makes sense now.
By the grace of God, it was.
Like mad. It makes sense. It's so big.
Yeah, so he took me. So he started taking me like through some kind of. By that time, he had also advanced in keyboard, so I also learned some things from him and all that. So that's about how my music life started.
Interesting. Guys, I swear this revelation has busted my head. Like, like when therapists want to want to like tell you, every time people always complain about the fact that therapists always take you to your childhood and like your early beginnings. Yeah. But bro, no be lie. So for anybody listening that cannot understand like what I'm saying, it makes sense. When Nesochi talks about his professorship, you connect the dots very easily. But I want to talk about, when you were leaving Redeemers and you were going into Faith Academy, because I know like you were in Faith Academy, then you left, then you came back. So I want to know, first of all, when did you enter Faith Academy?
Yeah.
Was it like Primary 5, Primary 6? And then you say you came with some guys. So you've mentioned Ojonuga, but like who else did you come with? And like what class did you actually use? And what was like is it common entrance now? Or was it like for you?
Yeah. We're all in Primary 5. There was me, Ojonugwa, Asha, Romo, Jesse Talena, I've mentioned 5, but I think we're more than 5. But these are the ones I can remember right now. Yeah. This five, including myself, 6. So we came together. There are some people that were in Redeemers but left. They knew me, but I didn't know them. I think Dasafema once told me that he said he tried to say where we met and how we met, but I didn't remember at all. So I know that there were other people that were Redeemers that came to FA, but because we didn't finish together from Primary 5, I won't really know them. So,
okay. But I mean,
it's not the second question, it's a follow-up question.
Yeah, it was like how the entrance was for you. like common entrance? Because at DME in the episodes you're just supposed to
That
tell.
entrance was guy still poured on me. Oh God. I don't know who gave these guys the idea that somebody's coming for entrance. Say the person should wear white on white and come and eat stew and yam. Like, okay, what exactly, and how does that relate to you being in boarding school? Some of these things don't make sense. I think you said something in your podcast the other day, and you always say it that somebody's parents or somebody's uncle, somebody's auntie always introduces FA. My one was my neighbor, and the painful part is that they never have children that were old enough to be a Faith Academy. They just were winning Living Faith members, winners. They now told my mom that this your boy is enter school. There's one school, Faith Academy. This school is so good. They are just starting this and that. So I think I was supposed to go to Lumen Christi. Lumen Christi is kind of like a Catholic school. Is in Benin. Or like I think I'd also passed AIC. I passed like other schools now. But the way this woman was really advocating for FA, she really sold it to my parents. So my parents were like, from this testimony now, we need to make a U-turn. So that's how I landed myself in FA. And I mean, I had a conversation with somebody from a higher set today. She just reached out to me. No, she posted something and I responded, and when we had a video call and she saw this picture. She saw this picture on my wall.
Okay, it's the set picture.
And can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, she saw
in the first right now. I think
you still have this picture. Yes, I'm on the first line. On the first line. And she was like, oh, you still have this picture? I was like, there's no way on this earth that I can tell my story without mentioning Faith Academy. Because like, you asked Ademi if he can send his children to Faith Academy. My own response to that question is, if it's the Faith Academy that I left, that I met and I left, yes, I can. But I've heard a couple of things, going on in the school. It's no longer what it used to be. So I can't, and apart from that, I don't even know to what extent it has, for lack of a better word, deteriorated. So, but if it's the Faith Academy that I met and that was there as when I was leaving, if I have 5 children, 5 of them have to pass through it too.
Wow. We have an FA advocates right here. This interview thing that you said, right? Like me, I don't know if your own was intentional that you bought to my own. Like I do so that I no go enter the school. Like I intentionally bought.
I think you mentioned. I think it was in the podcast you had with Uzo that you said that you were supposed to go to Lead British. And then somebody came to testify to your dad. Yeah, somebody came to testify to your dad that this was going on the FA. That's how you two had the U-turn.
God, the thing is like jazz, it's always that like there's an offer somewhere. There's somehow you just get pulled by this force. It's like gravity. Like the conversation and your parents are like two forces of two mass objects that is pulling you down, and you find yourself in the middle. Okay. Nesochi, we'll break your Faith Academy journey into 2, right? So I know you're just 1 and then you're SS1, because I know like after just 1, like you left. So how was the experience? Because the stories I heard, just 1 was a literal jungle for you guys. But how was like the experience, the just 1 experience?
Day 1, I misplaced my key. And Asha helped me to bogle my box so I can carry cutlery for dinner. Guy,
Wait,
that day
wait.
was
How the Asha?
bloody.
Wait,
Oh
wait,
my
wait, wait,
God.
wait, wait, wait.
And I can,
Wait. Wait. How did Asha know how to boggle locker on day one?
no, Asha has an older brother now. So, I mean, I just assume that he must have taught him one or two tricks.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that day was not really fun. I'm talking of day one. Day one, I listened to, and funny enough, my story is quite similar to Ademi because I also was put in a room, like I was also put in Blue House. My original house was Green House. That was what was written on paper. But I entered Blue House, and the people in Blue House kept on trying to convince me that there's no need to go. I'm like, I mean, I'm not so old, but I know that this is wrong. They say I'm in Green House. I'm in Green House. So even when I went to take my what's it called now, my
Houseware.
my colors. So yes, my house, not even house where my bed sheets. I took greenhouse bed sheets. I laid that bed in green until I was taken out of that. And I had some experiences. Like, I think, was it in GS1 that I slapped Rizuchi? I think it was was it GS1? I thought GS1. It was GS1. I slapped Rizuchi, they reported to Mr. Evans. Then Mr. Evans now flogged me. They gave me 11 strokes that day. It was Wasa and Ayafa that lifted me for those strokes. During afternoon prep. Oh my God. That was one moment I can never forget. Another moment is one day that somebody, we all woke up in the morning, we met, they laugh.
Wait now, why, like, I you go slap Bucci? Like, why?
So
like,
this,
I'm just...
so this, you know that guy. That guy can be very annoying. So this is what happened. He entered inside the room and he started accusing me of taking his sweater. I said to the guy that, bro, I did not take your sweater. Now, do you know the funniest part? Me, I could not find my sweater. I was not wearing sweater. But because I was the last person to leave the room, because that time there is one stuff they used to do, they assign corridor and whatnot to us. So I was on duty. So I left the room last. I was not wearing sweater. I did not have a sweater that he would say, this one you are wearing, this one you look at.
Were you
the guy just came and started accusing me of stealing sweater. And the one was, yes, I was my dumb head. And the guy has already been, yes, and the guy has been pissing me off since. So like, so the guy said accusing me. So I could not take it anymore. I stood up. I was like, guy, stop this thing. I don't like this thing you're saying. The guy said, you're a thief. Omo. I just was the guy. As I was the guy, his face now swollen.
And you know that which is fair.
Because he is fair, bro.
Which is fair. It will show like mad.
The guy, his face swole up, and in fact, this experience was just not it. It was this thing I'm telling you was during afternoon, was during siesta. That time siesta was a big deal. Mm-hmm. Now, as we came out, the guy was going to go report. Me, I came out of the room to follow him, to beg him that, bro, I beg, don't report. We're heading towards Mr. Evans' room. Then, what's this guy's name that later went into music? His name starts with E. It was in Greenhouse as well. I think it was Greenhouse captain. I can't remember his name now. He now edits beautiful. It was edit now saw us. He now said, two of you kneel down, but it was not kneel down. He now asked us where we were going. He said we are going to Mr. Evans' room. He now said we should crawl there. So we started crawling. When we crawled to Mr. Evans' room, he now knocked. When Mr. Evans saw his face, he said, what happened? He did not even need to explain too much because me too, I was already there. He just pointed at me and said that this guy slapped me. Somebody just say, "You did what?" The guy just broke out. I don't know. I can't remember what he used to flog me that day. He tried to flog me. I was marrying the thing anyhow. Then he now called Ayafa and Wasa Williams to carry me up. They now lifted me up. My God, as they lifted me up, he now flogged me. I couldn't sit down during afternoon prayer that day. God damn it. So, I think that's like one of my most memorable experiences for my GS1 season. GS1. So, like I said, Black Emeka was my school father. I didn't really have bad experiences like that.
Wait, what's his actual name? Like, what's his actual name?
Like GS2 guys.
I don't want us to be calling like Black Emeka. It's a bit.
I know him as Emeka. Okay, his name is Emeka Chukwuemeka.
And let's call him by his name.
Emeka Chukwuemeka. I don't know if there's any other name, but it's Emeka Chukwuemeka. So now, that time Emeka used to take my clothes from me and give it to GS2s, to help me wash. My provisions. I remember there was a time that it actually tried to take some things from me in my locker. I just left it actually there. I just went straight to Emeka's room. When they came, they argued. By that time, Dashi, I started drinking. It was Rabina. I had already drank like 2. He replaced it.
Are you serious?
Those were, so I didn't really have. Yes, he replaced it. So I didn't really have, like, I wasn't really bullied like that.
Nesochi, I just want you to remove yourself from your shoes, right? And try and see you and your experience from another person's point of view. First of all, with all the, stereotypes and all the narratives that people have about Emeka, right? I try and put yourself in that position, and then try and put yourself in the position of like somebody when you're a prefect listening to you now, saying that Emeka was like your school father, and that literally your prototype for discipline. Do you know how I'll just hear having like I'll just flabbergasted, bro. Like I'll just trying to like comprehend if you already have a Nesochi by himself, you now put a guardianship of Emeka. I have right now, like I am not shocked at the outcomes. I am so not shocked at the outcomes, man. But before we get to this one, like senior secondary school, where did you go when you left just one? What was it? Where did you actually go and why?
I went to Napo Private School. It's a school in Mitama, Ghana Street. I think number 17, I mean number 12. I can't remember now. It was a good experience. However, if I did not leave that school, how do I say this without saying this? There's no way I would have gone astray. Like if I did not leave that school, I would have gone astray. Let's just put it that way. It was a very good experience. Majority of people that were in my class were not Nigerians. They were children of diplomats and all those stuff. So like I was exposed to some kind of interesting things, in that class. Some words that I never heard before, some kind of phrases, the way these things are now. Like it was a culture shift for me. So I'm grateful to my parents and to God for orchestrating my immediate removal because it would have been catastrophic.
Okay. Do you know, looking like I feel the same way. So of course, like for me, like when I came back, so my senior secondary school, like the first time, I was still like in Madrid. So I spent the first 2 terms. If I did not come back, I'm just, the probability. Sometimes it's good to like experience life in the past through probabilities. Like, what is the probability of your future should X have happened or should Y have happened, right? And try and like simulate in your head like what it would have looked like. Guy, the probability of being a normal child, like normal, like is probably going to be 5%. Like the best case scenario I can see, like it's probably going to be 5%. Why? Because everything was stacked against like just not being okay. Like being like, first of all, because I was very, very I think like you, like I was very stubborn, but I was also stubborn in like loud way. Like, so I was still well behaved, but my stubbornness was like innate. In the sense of like I don't display madness, but I like through mannerisms, right? Day to day, you can see like rebellion. I don't like, bro. I don't know how to explain it, my G. Like it's just, I will not shout though, I will not scream, but my what do you call that? Countenance would tell you to like stubbornness and rebellion.
I think you told me a story about, I don't know if you'll be comfortable with me sharing this story, but it was about you and placing an order. I'm sure you should understand.
Oh my god. No, it's fine. Yeah. Like I mean at that point, like with Popsy, like he laughs about it today, but like at that point, like I literally so when I was younger, like I think when I was like 8, 9, 10, 11, thereabouts, which was like the first time that we're living here. I was a gamer. Like I loved games. Like in my PS3, like I had over 50 games. Like I played so much, man. Like FIFA, I played so much. Like Modern Warfare, Last of Us. Like so many games. Like I was a proper gamer, and I did not care about school. I did not care about knowledge. I not like all these things was like byproducts. The main thing about life was like like games and stuff and football. So it goes to a point whereby obviously like when you know that low-key your parents can afford something and then they by themselves choose not to provide it, right, by their own decision. Yeah, you don't understand the rationale. Right? So you decide to take matters into your own hands. Right? And provide for yourself with their resources. That was the situation.
Oh, when you tell me that story, man, the thing shook me.
Oh, no, but like but like bro, so there were a lot of things like I wanted to get, and so of course what did I do? I want to go and get Popsy's card and ordered my orders. Please my orders. Bro, I literally got when the truck, like it was like when the truck came, like the van came. Like normal orders, they'll just come with like, I don't know, like a motorcycle or something, like to drop it, like it's a package and go. Or it's like a van, but they'll just remove it from the van and go. This one, the van had to like, and we opened the gate. It had to enter the house and like reverse to the front so that they can offload the things one by one. Every single person in my house was so confused, including me. I was like, is it that much? But yeah, like I'm going to tell these stories, like it's a bit it's a bit like extreme, right? But I think to give glory to God that a child can be transformed and can be changed somehow. Because I don't want to have me as a child. I would never want to have that person as my own child. Like it is problematic. Like God forbid. I will forbid my younger self as my own child. Like I would not want it. Like another situation was, when like I went and I like got a phone for myself, right? Again, with 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 your parents' resources. Like there's so many stories, right?
Oh
Like
boy.
when I think about them now, but yeah. Anyway, this is just to call back on the fact of like similarities of stubbornness. But like one thing I would say is that stop like your supposed bad traits never leave you in life. What do I mean? I think like how it functions is that it just translates into a positive um dimension. What I mean is that if, for example, let's say like you suffer with anger and like with hot temper, right? You find yourself you still have the anger and you still have the hot temper. But instead of what's making you angry in the past being like bad things or like, very useless things and unreasonable things, or like you're like, I don't know, weather, you just a change anyhow. This time is like for the right causes, you are now hot tempered, and for the right causes, you are now angry. And I think it's the same like for stubbornness. It's like
True.
stubborn. If people were stubborn in the past, I don't think the stubbornness ever leaves them. It seems like now the stubbornness has morphed into something else that is positive inside their lives. I think that maybe for you is like anybody, if you hold something that is very dear, and like if you are very particular about a belief or a thought in your mind, it will be very difficult for anybody to convince you otherwise. Or if you set your mind to do something, it will be very difficult for somebody to do otherwise, because inside of you is a stubbornness and a rebellion already. So like that supposed like weakness has not translated into a strength for the right reason.
Strength, yeah. It's the same thing with the story of Saul becoming Paul. That's like the classic example.
Yeah.
Because all of the passion that he was using to persecute, it became a passion that he was using to evangelize. Man wrote 2/3 of the New Testament, bro. It doesn't get more stubborn than that.
And the funny thing is like see, people with coconut head, like people with coconut head are like have coconut head for a reason. It's like they enter. Whether you say it like he was like now. I mean, in his own case, like on the other side, right? He was like persecuting and like killing Christians and whatnot. But it's like when he now flipped, it's like if you are evil, he get coconut head. Like, in his own mind, what he believes is correct. So he would drain down and fight that goodness of God and the gospel side of you to hear. Like he has coconut head like that. But anyways, Napu. Then let's talk about let's go back to you, and then coming back to SS1, which is like honestly like when I knew you, and when I like when we met for the first time. So out of all the choices, why was this Faith Academy that you came back to? And when you came back to Faith Academy, right? Were you excited, or was it like, oh my god? Especially if you went to like a Napo Private School, like how did it feel like, oh my god, I'm back to bondage, or what were like your initial experiences in this as well?
So when I came back in SS1, it was I was anxious, but it wasn't a negative anxiety. I was just, curious, like all my friends, they are now bigger now, especially the ones from primary school. And so the first question you asked is why Faith Academy? I actually passed. I passed AIC. I passed Deeper Life. I passed Baptist High School before I even wrote Faith Academy exam for SS1. But then I had. It was just I don't want to say something as cliche as destiny, but destiny had a very huge role to play in it. And my parents were just having a conversation. They just reached out to one of the teachers then, Mr. Harry. So they're like, oh, your boy, we're thinking about taking him back to boarding school. Is your school come? Let him come. And when I came for the interview, all the teachers that recognized me, they were very excited to see me for some reason. Miss Alade of blessed memory, she was a sports person and everything, She was just happy to see me, you know. And so that's how I came to FA. So when I got into FA, it was I remember during the interview when they asked, because they always ask, is there anybody that can play keyboard to play for praise and worship? When I played for praise and worship, then they took national anthem. I played national anthem. They took school anthem. I played school anthem. People were like, who is this guy? Not knowing that, like, this was my second experience in the school. When I got into the school, the same mistake still tried to happen. They tried to put me in Blue House after they had given me Green House before. But they tried to take me to new hostel because that time they had already divided into old and new hostel. When I entered the new hostel, they said that I said I'm going to Green House. They say it's only Blue House and Red House here. I said, that I'm in Green House. They say, that I should just stay in Blue House. But I said, no. Please, where do people that are in Green House stay? So that's how I went back to Green House. That time it was Mr. Destiny. He was the one in the hall that night. He was the one that received me. I spoke with him. Maybe trying to tell him that I had been in the school before and everything. Chibuke led the devotion the next day. And that day, I think before he used slippers to design somebody that was sleeping. So I was like, this kind of things still there. Then I think in the afternoon now, I saw Dajli like waving belt, that is that I've not seen for some time. I see belts flying, back, everywhere. Like, so first of all, I had to just advise myself that, bro, you need to brace up. So the first thing I did when I got to FA was to look for Emeka. So the first thing I did that day after I'd settled down was I asked around for Emeka, and then I was given the news. I was like, oh, okay, wow. Then I started, I think that day, Utom, Maka, and some other people, I wouldn't even know if you were even there, but they were just discussing one serious thing, like football or something. So I was passing, I just entered. Asha now like introduced me that this guy was here before and everything. Then like we just shook guys, half. And then that's how I started. We didn't wear white for too long. Yes, I just remembered. Sorry to take us back. My second, or I think this is even the most memorable moment in my GS1. Me and Lucky Kadiri were on the same table. It was during orientation. So that time, the dining hall, they divided dining hall and assembly hall. So we ate bread and stew that day. I was trying to tell Lucky that guy, this stew is not for only you now. Why you they try serve yourself lion's share? That's how the guy carried the stew from the cooler and poured it on my white. Jesus. I look at the guy, look at my white. Look at the guy, look at my white. I said, let me not show myself. I went to the kitchen staff. The kitchen staff told me, they said I should call him. And that time, Lucky has grown quite tall now. That time, he was still very short. And me, when I call Lucky, is it this small boy that's terrorizing him? My friend, will you leave this place? Go and clear your table and get ready for this thing. My mom was like, now wow, she should have just taken laws into my hands. As I've reported now, I cannot do this guy anything. So, so that experience.
Yeah, you for use that snap when you drop on Bucci.
Anyway, so back to
you slapped the
Wallahi.
You slapped the wrong
But
person.
I said let me go and report, and the whole thing didn't work out. I was this that guy, man. But it's okay. So back to SS1 now. Yeah, I earlier said in this on this conversation, I struggle with my academics, and it's so funny. When I tell people that I struggle with my academics, it's very funny now because it doesn't seem that way. But I promise you, bro, for lack of a better word, I was a failure. That's why I didn't enter science class. There's no other way to put it. I failed maths like a bastard. In fact, I think my maths for my WAEC was C6. Like God just said, you will enter university this year. That's all. If not, I could have failed that maths. I would have failed it very, very well. So I struggled with my academics. So because of that, it was a no-brainer. I decided to go into arts class.
But wait, what did you want? If you were to choose, where would you have gone?
So I'll have been a computer engineer.
Interesting.
I was going to do software engineering. That was in my mind. Then I read Ben Carson's book. And I started thinking about brain surgery. I said to myself, I wanted to be a brain surgeon, you know? Like I really why not, so you don't be small.
I swear, bro. You know, like last week, like the thought just came to my head. That guy Ben Castle just whined all of us, like all of us just ate that basket. He's just like Kenkatas. Can you remember Kenkatas?
Oh boy, Jesus! That guy, where is he? I mean, where's Kenkatas now?
I don't want to know, bro, guy. You get people who don't put you for basket for this life. Like two of them put us for baskets.
Musa, can you remember? I don't know if you can remember. There was a night that I came to your room and I said I wanted to sleep on the bunk. Can you remember that night? Can you remember that night? I'm not sure you remember.
Yeah, it was upstairs now. Like, you know, that it was upstairs.
Yes, it was upstairs. Beautiful.
Academy. That was your Academy and this guy, Stepnora's Prince Ben, Abi.
Yes. I slept on the bunk for like 2 days. Why? Because Kenkata said so. If I cut that guy, now sometimes I still feel back pain. I don't know whether I can trace it to that pain.
I beg the sushi. Come out your shirts. We can see your mark of Christ.
Oh boy! Oh God!
People will carry you like. See, do you know the thing is that like we are actually kids. Do you understand? Like we do not have. We're not informed enough to know that like, guy, this is BS.
Musa, do you know that is mental abuse? Like, you know, you're putting types of abuse, verbal abuse, sexual. That's mental abuse. That guy abused us. No. No.
Like, I remember the video of like, there was a video, Niken Kata's like video that I think they were recording his daughter or something, and then Kata started coming out.
Kata was coming out. She's sweating from her brain. Oh my God! Jesus!
Guy, wherever Kata is, I hope you have prayed for forgiveness of sins.
Yeah. And school owners too were not helping matters. They were inviting the guy spreading his tapes.
Guy, even Samson are that poor. Like, you get many things if you do it. I'm like, thank God for exposure. Like, just thank God for exposure. If not, you for the like all your life would be inside baskets. You'll be like Moses who never leave the river. And you just carry you and be going like that.
Just. So I think that's about it for my SS1. When I started, I think I picked up, not really picked up, but I started seeing positive changes in my maybe second or third term. Like I stopped feeling, I would just like visually see.
Which SS1 were you in? SS1 G, abi?
I was in G from SS1 to SS3.
Crazy. Okay.
Mr. Ocho. So that's about it. I think that's about my SS1 experience. I joined the choir, of course. Mr. T still recognized me a bit. So like that, Sha. I remember one time, Patricia of blessed memory. I was playing. Was it Doro? I think I was playing Doro Bucci on the keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
And she was in the studio with Mr. T. So according to the people that were there, because I didn't know anything was happening, I was just enjoying myself, trying how to put it into the next praise and worship interlude.
Mm-hmm.
The guy just shouted my name from the studio, like, Nesochi, lie down there. So when I lay down, he just came down, went to the keyboard, went to where the speakers are, remove one cord, the power cable, turned it in like this, started flogging me. When he's not finished flogging me, he asked me that, do I know why he flogged me? I said, I don't really know. He said that he just heard that I was playing the Dorobuchi. Never you use church instrumentals to play for some of all these things. But was it really nice?
Wait, was it Patricia that snitched you? Wait, Patricia was the one that told to be Satoshi.
Yeah, she's the one that snitched me.
But do you know? I want to like. I want
to know Dorobuchi now. Why do I want to know it?
No, but do you know? I want to believe that maybe she was just like enjoying herself and like singing to it. Then maybe Mr. Etosin like inquired, like, what song is this? And then she now told him,
what's going on?
I don't like. I don't say, guys, Patricia. Oh God! Oh my God! I love that. Life is so unfair. But like Patricia is the kind of person that could perfectly be a social prefect. Like she's the perfect social prefect. She knows she will have known every single song you could possibly know. And she'll probably just be enjoying herself. And then there you are, the unfortunate person triggering what will be the cause of your pain.
I'll flog that deal. But we thank God for everything.
Like SS2, man. So first things first, Nesochi, do you know that I was so shocked when they gave you chapel prefect? For two reasons.
Do you know that? For 2 reasons, yes.
Yeah. The first is that, honestly, I actually did not see anybody in our set that could be chapel prefect apart from Ademi. Like, I honestly felt that, like, just give Ademi chapel prefect and leave it empty. Like, leave assistant, like, it should just be one person. Because in my own head, I honestly did not, using how you think the school selects people for chapel prefectship, right? That was my reasoning.
Yeah.
And then secondly is because I genuinely thought you were going to be like choir head. Like I thought that was going to be the post that they would give you.
But I also got choir head.
Yes, I know now, but I thought like that would have been like the post. They gave some. You got 2. Some people got 1. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So let's talk about that experience. Like from where to where, bro? It was the most random.
Do you know
random placements?
I asked God for 4 years. Why was I chapel prefect? Because the way people say they were shocked. You couldn't have been more shocked than me, especially For people that even knew me when I went to that Napo that I'm talking about,
Hmm.
up to now, some of them don't even believe that that stuff happened. They think I'm 4 minutes. If you are listening to this podcast, it's true. So you have heard now. Because I feel like the way people even looked at me, as bad as the way people might have looked at me, I looked at myself even worse. Like I was when that list came out and they say they are doing Eagles or what do they call it? Eagles. They call it something Eagles.
I just did like 1 or 2 days and ball out of that thing. I don't even know the name.
Now, when they mentioned the names, who born me, I was never even thinking that my name would be there. They now managed to mention my name. So one night I was now thinking. I was thinking about all the posts in my head. I was like, I didn't even think like top from health prefect upward. For here, I just looking, okay, utility prefect. If they don't give me utility prefect, they will give me house captain. No, house captain was heavily contested because we had really upright guys for house captain in greenhouse. So house captain, no.
But do you know also
Labor.
our house captains also shocked me. Like bro, every single thing shocked me that day. Like our house captains, Asha as a house captain is an anomaly in my head. Like we think Asha they fight inside hostel. Asha was a lazy fuck. Like
So
what is
I
Asha?
I thought about house captain, utility prefect. I tried to think about labor, but I feel like I needed to give somebody that is, at least I didn't rate myself. Let me put it that way. So when they mentioned the name, in fact, when they started mentioning names, they started from the utility prefect upward and all that. When they finished mentioning all those ones, they not even mention house captain. I just told myself that these guys must have advised themselves to know that they now called Chabu Prefect, now mention my name as how. Ha. So I tried to drop it. I mean, was it quiet head I tried to drop? It's like I even tried to drop 2 of them. It was Mrs. Faye that now came to meet me that I should not put her to shame, this and that she was the one part of people that nominated me, blah blah blah. Because I just thought that this was a setup for failure, honestly speaking. So, like I was saying, I kept on asking God, why did you pick me for this position? And God did not answer me until 200 level. Our council chairman was giving a speech, and he said very randomly, God does not always call the qualified. Sometimes he qualifies the called. Immediately he made that statement, I received like a nudging in my spirit that remember this question you have been asking since. This is the response. And I began to look at all the meaningful things that came out and are still coming out of my life. They all began from me becoming chapel prefect. I started being exposed to, they'll tell you, Mr. Dixon will say, go and prepare plenty messages because you can nominate somebody to preach on assembly. The person will disappoint. You are the one that will preach, all those type of things. So sometimes if I'm bored, I'll just start making messages. Of course, you cannot make messages from your head. What about scriptural reference? You have to read Bible, Like I started going deeper into God. I started seeing dimensions. You lead chop, sometimes you are praying, your hand mistakenly just touch somebody, the person will fall down and be like, now me, they exude this kind of power, that kind of thing. So like a lot of, yeah, I love it, but it was a very, very confusing experience for me until, like I said, I got the answer and then everything started making sense. Everything just started making sense. But before that, I was really, really confused. I kept asking myself why. I thought it was a setup. I thought it was from the devil. That devil wanted to make a mess of me. That was my original, thought about it. So yeah, I became chapel prefect. He started introducing us to books. telling us important. We started having, Mr. Dixon now. Sometimes he would just call us from class. 2 hours in his office. Jesus. He'll just be drilling us. Me, Bernice, Adeni, and Fumi. My God. They tell you, have a meeting, on Sundays we'll come back. Instead of entering the hall, we'll go to his office. We'll be there sometimes till lunch. Musa, till lunch. From after Sunday service, still in our white, till lunch. Mr. Dixon would just be talking. Jesus. I remember one day he was talking and I looked at my wristwatch. Jesus. Now, he was already almost wrapping up with that conversation. And I'm not even sure I really checked. Maybe it was just a reflex action. He saw me look at my wristwatch. We spent another 2 hours there. So those experiences, I think I think I've said most of it.
So I'll vividly explain that prefectship day as much as I can remember. There was a point I was ambitious and I said I wanted to be an instrumentalist. Right. I don't even remember. There was a period in fact I came that I was really, really trying to be an instrumentalist. So there was there was not the talking drum, but there was that one that you do with your hand. It was three drums that you now put on your neck and then you play together. Yeah, that particular one. Right. And then obviously I was just trying, bro. I was trying to enter instrumentalist somehow. I just I don't have it in my blood, or not yet. At least at that point I could not have it. So because of that, now instrumentalists are always at the back. That choir section was there was SS3, there was the SS2, there was the SS1, then there's choir. Choir is just facing everybody. At the back where that speaker is, that's where instrumentalists normally stay. So if you go up, come down, the back lane. Yeah. So me, and I don't know, I think it's it was even Mopa or whatever. So obviously me, I knew I was not going to get prefectship. So we're at the back, right? So all of us, the first thing is that when the Oketa sets, they call them up first, they tell them oh, thank you for your service. And then they'd be telling them to go back to their seats. And then they're calling up our own set guys, and bringing them back up. So me, guy, that whole thing, I just felt it was, do you know this thing that he said that God does not call the qualified, he qualifies the called. Yeah. Apart from, so first of all, even in head boy, I legit thought, I thought that there was 60% probability that Boro would have been head boy and 40% Toby. I actually thought it was slightly the opposite. I thought I had Toby was going to be head boy, but maybe assistant, not head. Not because I don't think Toby can be head, but because I felt because they knew the kind of person that Toby was, they will not weigh the entire responsibility on him, and they'll give Samuel the entire responsibility of actually leading the entire school. Every single thing. The only thing that made sense in my head was the Ademi, prefectship. Every other thing, there were a lot of weird things. I know, in our own set, they created PROs. What the hell is PRO? Where are you getting these things from? You don't understand. So when they now reached, they gave
them this siren. Now what is this stuff?
No, you're a town crier. You are a town crier. Judas Shamade, I love you, bro. But your role was town crier. That was the first time I thought. Bro, when I saw that Judas Shamade was it was PR, I started laughing. I was whoa! For something Judah can pretend a role. Do you understand? He's that kind of guy. But I just felt what kind of role is this? And he was going back to it. So when obviously they started calling, and of course, chapel prefect is the fourth thing so it's second to the last thing they call. Before they call the heads of the school, they call chapel prefects. Right? I think it's before chapel prefect is not label. So when they pass label, I was so curious because every single person that I could have imagined, right, that could have come up. Because me, I knew I was not, like, I knew I dropped prefectship, so I was not going to be called. I was like, what is happening, like, right now? And like, so when they called, like, Nesochi Mogbolu, everybody around me, we just looked at ourselves, like, eh? But that was after, so that was the day. It was like 2 days before inter-house sports, which was another reason why I think, like, I mean, everybody was like a bit jovial, like it's inter-house sports season, there's no class, after like your uniform, you just go back to hostel, you go and change and whatever. So it was a period of like a lot of like relaxation and I just play. I can remember the next morning in Nesochi. See, there is something about the immediate handover of prefectship that I still have to like sit down and comprehend in my life. The way power, like how authority and power is moved, that changes and makes people enabled to carry out certain actions. Now, Nesochi, this is not for you. This is for the people listening to this episode. And obviously, like if you clicked on this episode, you are most likely a fit academic person. But if I know a fit academic person and you're still listening to this and you want to just understand the general conversation, let me explain to you what the next morning looked like. Verbatim. So obviously, when you become a prefect, when you're in the set of the prefects, when you're in the set of the prefects, the rules don't apply to you. That's the truth. Like, your mates will not wake you up from devotion. Like, you are literally on God level at, like a boarding school position, right? Like, you can do whatever you want. The people that can talk to you are like teachers. Even your seniors, they don't care. Because them too, they are like on upper God level. Like, they are just doing whatever they want. So, I wake up now the next morning. Tobi Araka is downstairs with a chair in front of box room. Guy, do you know the weird thing? Tobi Araka is ready by like 6:30. Right? It's still dark. Baba is with like, so this is just pure and absolute Tobi, bro. I love you so much, man, Oraka. But what Tobi will have done in his normal life, which was to go to class and start reading by like 6:30 a.m. So he decided to do it in hostel. So he brings a chair in front of like box room downstairs, looking at the courtyard, and he crosses his leg and starts to read. Guess what? He has a chain by his side. Why? We'll find out. We will soon find out. So Tobi, see, try and understand it from our own position, because again, though we are the set mates, right, and obviously like we are not impacted by whatever is about to happen, like it's still new to us. Like this is something I've never seen too. Like it's also like everybody is seeing this movie at the same time. Like we're all fucking seeing this thing at the same time. So it now gets to 7 when they ring siren, the first siren, 7. That's where, like, obviously us, we are now going out to go and bath. Tobi stands up and starts to, like, go down by down with his chain, trying to chase people. I am not even joking. I think at that point, all of us just, like, at Greenhouse, I think we're all on the rail. Like, we're just looking above the rail, trying to understand, like, what's in their call right now. I know that time they will say SS3s now. So SS3s were also, like, trying to understand and wonder, like, what's in they happen. But let me tell you the, like, sweetest parts of this, like, movie I'm explaining to you. There's another guy that somehow, like, brothers in house, like, he too has a chain. Nesochi also has a chain. And on that morning, both of you are on separate corridors and you are doing the same thing. Do you know that in my history of being a junior, number 1, I've never seen somebody carry a chain. Number 2, I've never seen like 2 people
you guys were like mirrors, and I'm not even joking. Like in hostel, you guys were like mirrors, and I felt like you guys fed off each other's energy for some, because no other person had that. You know, greenhouse boys now, like greenhouse boys are some of the like nonchalant people you can find like for prefectship. So nobody had the energy or the time, and again, it's so weird because it's Toby. So two of you now doing exactly the same thing for like one consecutive week. Let me just tell you from my own position, guy, that was like, there are so many movies I have seen, and that like from the beginning of the movie you can predict, but from the day they gave you from the moment they announced you guys as prefects, and that very week, I could, bro, every single day felt like a random probability. That guy, like, just stay on the wheel. Let's see what happens today. That was my experience. I was just trying to understand, like, let's see, you know, like, let's find out what Nesochi or Toby will do today. That was like literally me for an entire week. What was the motivation? Nesochi? Like, why a chain? Like, of all the things you can carry, how did a chain enter your thought and your mind?
There's a quote I'm trying to pull out of memory now, but my memory is failing me. But it's something like the threat of force is more often powerful than force itself. There's a way that philosopher puts that statement.
Say it again.
Now,
the threat of force is more what?
The threat of force is often more powerful than force itself. And, yeah, so picking a chain. Now, again, I haven't really given it a lot of thoughts, so I can't say 100% what I was thinking at the time. But I'm trying to look at where I was mentally, the kind of things I had read, and also what I was trying to make out of my life at the time. Picking a chain was more effective than actually flogging people with belts. Because almost everybody has tasted belts before. Almost everybody. It was not the first week of school. Once you have done first week to first month, one how belt has touched you. But the probability that somebody has tasted chain on the back is very low. So if you step into a room, you won't have to say...
Like, are you hearing yourself?
No. So calm down. Like I said, so what I said was the threat. Remember what I said at the beginning?
Okay.
That the threat of force. Okay, so the quote is the threat of a higher force is often more effective than the use of a lower force. Something like that, Sha. So I think you should understand what I'm saying now. So going back to the comparison of chain and belt. If I enter a room and I say, yeah, so for me that was it. Like, it was very, very effective. Nobody wanted to find out what it feels like to be flogged by a chain. So it made the work very easy. It was very effective. There was a day that I think we recorded the hall being empty before 7:30. More than once. We recorded hostel empty before 7:30. More than once. And I believe even more than twice. So yeah, and then of course, nobody's going to flog. I never had any intention of flogging anybody with chain. So it also reduced the probability, because if you are with a belt, most likely you use it because you know that the damage is controllable. But if you vote somebody with chain, a lot of things can come out of it. So it also mitigated the use of force. So I felt like if without the chain, there would have been more flogging. But with the chain, flogging also reduced. You guys understand it?
This is a very interesting perspective. Because like obviously I know that you guys never actually used the chain. Like I know, like you guys never. Like it was the. Would I say the image you portrayed was louder than the action you took from that image, right? And I knew that. And I think it was low-key smart,
Exactly.
but at the same time, it has followed you. Do you know that? I will not mention names. But like when I was recently back in Nigeria, I was like with some juniors now. And guy, the image they have of you is that image of the chain. Like, most likely, right? Again, I don't. How many times have I actually seen you like actually like flogging people? Like flogging people. I don't have any image in my head, self. So I don't even know how many times you actually like used anything to like flog anybody. But I know that you did punish, right? Especially like general punishments. Oh, everybody like in SS1, you guys have not cleared your table. All of you kneel down. All those kind of things, right? But I think you, you had a narrative, and everybody like believed like that narrative so much that nobody wanted to test it.
Exactly. Which happens to be the idea.
Like, bro, if I went there, I'm like, Nesochi no go touch you guys with cane. But how do you explain that to a junior? Like, is it you want the junior to
Exactly.
test? But another will I say another like thing, right, was also the fact that I mean, though from Faith Academy point of view, the chapel was actually like a very, very high position. I mean, like after like it was more valuable and like it had much more authority, like in Faith Academy than the labor prefect, which is like an anomaly in normal schools, right? Whereby like after the head boy is like the labor prefect, but like in Faith Academy is like the head boy, then the chapel, then the labor prefects, and then other prefects. There was a point that like I could not distinguish between you and like Toby, who was the head boy. Like because you were so active everywhere. Like dining, Nesochi is there. Class, Nesochi is there. Of course, chapel, you are there. Hostel, Nesochi is there. In those moments, see, from my own position there, like again, this is somebody like I am somebody that like literally dropped prefectship. So like for me, seeing somebody that is so like you are taking full ownership, right? Is like you take so much effort and full ownership of the role and even go beyond your responsibilities. I'm trying to comprehend like why. Because for me, like it does not square out at all. So when like especially in SS1, like to like first time of SS3, when these things were playing out, why did you like will I say fledge out all your responsibilities and more? And then like what was like now looking back in hindsight, like what will you say are the things that you have learned from that experience, right? Both good and bad at the same time.
All right. So from a very early age, there's one thing I have known about life, and is that two things actually. First is that you don't have a second chance at a first impression, which is why like that first day after I became prefect was very important. Because if you miss it, I mean, we have teachers that goof in their first day in class. First day you come to a class, you start playing with students. Almost till you leave that class, you beg them to keep quiet. But you see the ones that like when they come into the class, you just know from the one that this guy does not take making noise. It makes the work easier. Too much explanation is not needed. Like so, it made the work easier to go that route. Secondly, I think it's just a habit that I have. I don't know how to not do things to the best of my ability. Let me put it that way. And that's why like anybody that knows me, a lot of people keep asking me that guy, what are you doing? What are you doing with the PhD? Like, guy, you just like book. It's not that I like book, but it's something that I have already started. Like I've started my academics with my first degree. I'm seeing it through till the end. And that's just like, it's just the way I live my life, even my music life. If you give me a piece to score, I even find it very difficult to play it just like, if just maybe 100%, I must always find a way to make it better. So it's just an approach that I took into carrying out the responsibility that this is something that I've been given. It's a privilege and, to do it as best as I could. And most of all those images that were portrayed, like I earlier said, it made it even, it made the use of force quite even unnecessary. Like I didn't have to injure anybody. I mean, if I had to, sometimes you're talking to somebody, and especially, if you paint that junior, senior picture, most of the reasons why some seniors beat juniors is because they are trying to demand respect. Like I'm talking to you, you are walking away. Those kind of things that people expect from juniors, when they see you. But when you already have that image, you tell a junior, stand up, clear that table. You don't need to say it twice. It made the work easier, and then of course it reduced the necessity for the use of force. That's the first. Then what did I learn from that experience? Two things that I learned is that the reward for that's my first time. I think I already had it before I even heard that the reward for hard work is more work, because I was already working hard, and then people will come. Sometimes I'll be in class and labor prefer to come to me to like, bro, I beg, want to do clearing, I go need you by my side. Sometimes I'm doing something else. Maybe I'm preparing for a choir or something. So they call
They want
like
the reputation. They want to carry the reputation around.
Exactly. So what I learned from that is that the more you do, the reward, that's what you are getting, the recompense for the work that you're putting in, as long as it's good work, is that people will give you more work. I'm telling you that most of the extracurricular activities I engage in terms of
like this one, I say good work. I am sure like Jesus are listening to this and are questioning the good work. Like their own interpretation of a good work. Like I am very sure. But go ahead, the extracurricular activities.
Yes. Okay, so before I get to that, let me just, put shine some light into that. Let me use Nigeria as an example. The reason why people in the political space, or like learned political individuals, not people that are in politics that studied Islamic studies, people that study political science and all of those related courses. The reason why we fight against godfatherism is because you are always loyal to who put you in a position. It is the rule of life. That is why no matter how much you beg your politicians to do the right thing, their first duty, you didn't vote them. Are you expecting them to do the right thing for you? Their first duty is to the people that organized the elections, that paid. Some people invested millions and billions. Their first duty is to them. So that's why we fight godfatherism. Because as long as there's godfatherism in the political space, we can never get the best out of our political leaders. Now, moving drawing a nexus with that, example to Fit Academy. Now, if I'm saying good works, it's not good works in the eyes of students, because students were not the ones that gave us that responsibility. The responsibility was given to us by management. And I'm sure that if you ask the management to score the works that were done, they will tell you that it was good works. So when I say good works, it may not look, it's not to you, because we are not answerable to students. We're answerable to the management. Sometimes, I remember there was a day that Mr. Matthew called Toby and I and said, there was a wedding that was going on in school then. I said that all the teachers are not around. It's like, there's no teacher on ground right now. The school is in your hands. It was a Saturday. I can never forget that day. So when you talk about good works, the students may not really understand from the perspective of, oh, and of course, if you have ever managed a circle of people before, it's always like that. People are like, this guy is doing too much. Why is this guy like this? But the people you're reporting to are not seeing it that way. And in the grand scheme of things, as far as that duty is concerned, that is, their opinion carries more weight than, the opinion of the students. Now, moving over to...
Sorry. Nesochi, do you know what you just did? You just said, like, I don't give a shit about your opinion.
But that's not what I said.
Bro, every single person, you're just like, no be you give me contracts. You can go to hell. Well, go ahead.
Well, is a more diplomatic, but that's not the idea. Like I said,
I beg, bro. You don't do.
All right. So, talking about the lessons that I learned. Yes, the reward for more work, the reward for hard work or good work is more work, because most of the extracurricular activities that I like, for example, you made mention of dining, it was always on invitation basis. Sometimes I'm even tired. And there was one day I won't call the position. And like, bro, I can't do this without you. I can't do this. I beg, just come out. So I now learned that even when I get to the office, you need to be careful the kind of work that you take on if you don't want to, exasperate. Did I use that word correctly? You don't want to pass out or gas out on time. The second lesson that I learned from that experience is reputation matters. A lot of people, so you may not know this, I'm getting into the personal development space. I'm currently a teens coach. I coach teens at different organizations, including my church. And my focus is actually on boys. Most of the people that first of all started coming to meet me are Fit Academy students. I'm telling you. They came to me, we like this about you, your discipline and all those things. And even when I started applying for, some certain rules, some people will be like, oh, this guy, I know this guy from here. And I know that if it is based on this, he will deliver. I know this guy from here, and I know that he will not take this. And reputations like that is, funny enough, that's, how do I put this now? The gossip that people have about you in open does not matter as much as what is said about you when critical decisions are being made. There are some people that people look at them and are like, this guy is always doing too much. But then when it comes to a position that's about to be given to somebody who they are like, we need somebody that can over-deliver. More often than not, it is the person who, in everybody's eyes, is doing too much that gets that position. So one thing I learned is to guard my reputation closely. In fact, there's something in 48 Laws of Power that speaks to fighting for a reputation, as in with your whole life. If you can, make sure that you present a very, very healthy image of yourself, so that when opportunities come, you don't have to explain too much. People are like, oh, this guy, this is his ability, So those are the two major lessons I learned from that experience.
I think this is a good transition, I guess, to I say covenant university, right? Because I think with your covenants, I'm not even talking about your BSc days. I'm talking about the masters and postmasters. It's so weird how when you start to see a certain sense of maturity in people that you knew since you're watching their boxers, right? It's a different kind of feeling, right? So somebody that's your master's class sees you as Nesochi that is in masters, but somebody that has pre-context and has seen prior to that particular period,
I mean, first of all, is joy. Joy and reflection. Joy, why? Joy because you are seeing growth and you are seeing like a lot of progress, right? Or seemingly progress from the person. And then obviously like the reflection, because it forces you to like think about where we are very critically. It's like, like we are at this stage now, like like people are now like actually taking real decisions about their lives. People are actually like intentional about things. Like it's not a mommy daddy influencing your decision again. It's like independent choice making that is happening right now. And like I think it would be good. I mean, you can start like from BSc days and what's not, right? But like it would be good to get a glimpse. First, not what you are doing now, but before like your masters and your BSc days, to just try and get a glimpse of like the entire scope of the period. Because of course, like we know mutual friends from Fit Academy, a lot of Fit Academy, mutual friends from Corner University, sorry, like a lot of FE guys that went to CU, and outside like the FA guys that we know from Syria, there are other guys. So like the community is big. But in reference to like your own trajectory, how did BSc plus masters like support and shape you? And then what was even the difference in experiential living from like the BSc in a Covenant University and then the masters in a Covenant University?
All right. There's a phrase that I heard when people were describing a man that they hate so much. His name is Dr. Azubike. If you've ever heard anybody...
I sabi Azu. I don't know. I know go see you, but I sabi Azu. I sabi Azu.
Exactly. Now, Dr. Azubike has a lot of rules that govern his life. But he has one major rule, especially that governs his relationship with students. And the rule is simple: kings don't beg. The first time I heard that phrase, in fact, I think it's even a complete sentence: kings don't beg. The first time I heard that sentence, I was like, So they were using it to, somebody was trying to say how wicked the man is, that they came to apologize to the man, and someone, he was like, kings don't beg. And I sat down with that statement, believe me or not, for nothing less than 5 hours. That day, I can't remember where I was going, but the thing just hit me. So I had to pause. And I began to ruminate on the content of that statement, the ingredients that make up the soup that is that statement. And it dawned on me that all the times that we beg, like, oh, sir, I'm sorry, it is because you fail to live like a king. What does it mean to live like a king? A king is somebody that does, so in Covenant, they call us kings and queens, or kings and queens in Hebrew. And anybody that has finished from Covenant University, unless they want to lie, there's always a difference. Unless they want to lie to themselves. Even the ones that tried as much as possible to be recalcitrant, to, fight the system, you've passed through that school for 4 or 5 years or more, depending on whatever situation, there is always a difference. And that statement taught me that even till today, if I'm leaving my house, I don't step out of my house without my driver's license. Because the moment road safety stops you is I beg now. Bro, I beg now, sir. I forgot. You begin to explain. But that begging can be avoided by you doing the right thing. What are the things that make people beg in covenant? Not abiding by the rules. So if you know that these are the rules, you don't want to beg. And I don't like begging, as a matter of fact. Maybe that's why that statement spoke to me. Because I don't want anybody to talk to me anyhow. I can't take it. That you are talking, you should have done this, you should know better. Agbaya, you are bigger than this. All those kind of statements, I don't like it. And I don't want to be in a situation where I say, please, sir, I forgot my assignment. I'll bring it tomorrow. So that made me to be up and doing. And as a matter of fact, it's cut across. Before I started my master's, I worked in the bank. I worked at Keystone Bank. My colleagues will testify that if you give me work to do, It's not that I don't have any other thing I'm doing, but if I know that this work is coming from this man, I know like I can move other things. I just do it because I don't want to say please, sir, or you talk to me anyhow. So those are some of the things that like Covenant University really shaped my mind. Like I said to you, I left my house like 3 times today. 3 of those times that I left, before I step out of the house, I make sure that on my driver's license. Then recently, I even had to, photocopy it, put it like in 3 places in the car. It's not that I'm afraid or like I don't know how to drive, and dribble them, or I cannot pass alternative routes because we know where they stand. But at the end of the day, why do that when you can do the right thing? Why put yourself through that? If from here to this place is 5 minutes, you decide to take 30 minutes because you are suspecting that road safety will be there. Why don't you just drive with your driver's license?
Because you don't get down.
So that for me, if so for me, that alone, if Covenant did not do anything to me, like that alone is in fact is everything. Is everything. Every little T, every little I, just so that I will not say please. You find yourself begging. And much later, Dr. Azul later explained that statement. And the more he explained it, the more I started hating begging. Like, I mean, I'm not talking about maybe asking for a favor, but something that you should have done, you don't do it. Some people, that's what has put some people in some kind of situations. Some people find themselves doing things that they ordinarily should have not done because they put themselves in situations that they could have avoided by earlier doing the right thing. So that's one thing that in fact, Covenant University drummed into my brain.
So what about really beg? Sorry. What about guys really beg for urgent 2K? I beg guy urgent 2K.
No, that's what I said. So it's without trying. I'm trying to be sensitive.
Comma don't start. Comma don't start the enter.
No. I'm going to explain that, but I understand that our backgrounds are different. Some people are victims of very, very unfortunate circumstances, right? So this clause does not apply to them. You get somebody is disabled, or a lot of things might have gone wrong that will make somebody in a position to beg. But if you listen carefully when I was saying, especially in situations where you should have been able to do something about that. Using the example you gave about urgent 2K, the reason why some people are begging for urgent 2K is because they spent their money very, very recklessly. It does not apply to everybody, right? But there are some people that are like that. I had friends in school that they have babe. Your allowance is 30K. You use 25,000 naira out of 30K to do Valentine gifts. And August, that is 28 days, now begins to look like 60 days because you have 5K to negotiate the rest of the month. Then you now begin to ask for urgent 2K. Those are the kind of people I'm talking about.
Oh, I need 2K. Make you send out to my OP. So see, at this juncture, let me literally tell you like some things I really appreciate, right? And like some very, very good things that like I learned from you. So the first is like resilience. Resilience how? Resilience in the fact that like despite the odds, for me that's the definition. Resilience is like continuity despite the odds, and the odds is like enormous, right? The odds is like random, like a bunch of uncertainty and randomness. It's like anything can hit you, but despite the odds, like let's imagine odds is X. Despite X, I will still do Y. I think that to that is even from Fit Academy, I just see that like you still do it. You are here talking about like, oh, my academics was bad, but like, bro, you have literally like, you have literally like finished masters. I don't even have a masters. Like, I don't even have a masters. So like, is resilience. I think the second thing, right, is the core alignment from a spiritual point of view. So again, like I would say my spiritual journey is a bit of a roller coaster. I can't even lie. There's just like a lot of holy balloons here and there. And it's really from like, I don't know, like it's half, for a lot of people, it's like, it's easier to believe. So for other people, like it's harder to believe or what's not, right? And your experiences, and what you have seen in life and what's not. But like, I am naturally very slow to believe in anything. And I'm naturally like a skeptic, right? I will naturally like doubt you before I believe you. Like I mean, I don't know if that's good or bad, or I don't know like if that is, I don't know what that is, right? But like I'm very, very, very slow to believe in. But like in you, I just see like almost there's this groundedness, right, in spirituality. Because so first things first, like I do believe that there's a spiritual component to life. Like I do believe that like there's God in the sense of like there's something, yeah, Nesochi. There's something like I do, like I am not against the Bible, or not against God, or not against spirituality. Like I believe in all of these things, but it's like it sometimes comprehension and faith are two different things. Like some people have the capacity to like believe without comprehension. For a lot of people like me, unfortunately, it's like understanding is necessary to like propel faith. So like, well, I say we grow to the extent to which we are able to understand, right? And because we're always like, so somebody can ask one question for one particular thing, but I'll probably ask like 4 or 5 questions for that same thing, right? To gain like more perspective and more understanding of that particular thing, so that it delays, will I say, the ability to jump on the idea. But in you, like, bro, like it's just more, I don't know, it's just like music to you that you can believe and you ride on the belief and like you see the results of the belief. Like it's like, I mean, the same way that I said like music flows naturally to you is like I think like faith flows naturally to you too. And then finally is the fact that like you like there is so much impact drivenness that happens like inside of you, in the sense of like you are very old school. You are old school in the sense of you believe in the tenets of the past. Like even from a political point of view, and let's not go into that, but like you believe in the tenets of the past from like, oh, more spare the rod as Paul the child. Like, these are the way life should be. Like very conservative. But it's not conservative like with a closed mind. It's like it's a conservative with an open mind, but cannot be convinced of the new, what is new, except that what is new displaces like the core tenets of the past and the conservatism that you hold there. So of course, like these are like all like of vibrations of like what I've seen resonate in you, that I'm like, I wish I had a bit of that, because it might make my life a bit easier.
So, I read something by, was this Smith Wigglesworth this morning, early hours of this morning, and the statement says that faith does not disagree with facts. It just believes that fact is not final. And for me, I think that's the most holistic definition of faith. I mean, thank God for what Hebrews chapter 11 tries to do to the subject of faith. But that explanation, because a lot of people think that you believe, for example, I've had my doubts, by the way. I was talking to one of the teenagers that I'm privileged to um, was the word now, mentor on Sunday, and I was sharing my experiences of battling with the faith. Like I've seen some things that should not be according to what scripture has told us. I've read a lot about the Bible. I'm currently reading the Bible again throughout, like back to back to back, and in the order that it was written. Right. So like there are some things I have seen, and I'll give you an example. In fact, a very clear example. There is no place in scripture, it does not exist, that somebody came to Jesus Christ and told him, "This is my challenge." Or like and told him the person had an ailment, maybe was blind, was deaf or something, and the person went back without receiving their healing. That does not exist in the whole of scriptures. I've read the synoptic gospels back to back to back. It does not exist. But in our church today, I mean, and I say this with all sense of honor. Last year, Bishop Oyedepo celebrated 70 years. And in the celebration on Wednesday, I saw some group of people that were blind. They are from the school of the blind. They came in to celebrate with him, that he has been supporting them. You know, he bought a bus for them. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, we don't have eyes. He has become our eyes." And I began to ask myself questions like, this is negating what I've read. Like the instruction that we have received is not that we should help them to be comfortable in their blindness, it's that we should heal them. So like I've had times when things, especially reality, is not aligning with what's it called now, with what I've read in scriptures. But instead of it being a discouragement, it just becomes a fuel to know more. And that's part of the reasons why, against a lot of wishes, including my dad, up till today, I still find myself listening to Dr. Abel Damina, because people like this guy also preaching controversies, but sometimes there are some consistencies. If only you pay attention objectively to what he's saying, there are consistencies with scripture, and even the places where are not so smooth. It just drives me to actually know more. Like he'll say something like, this thing people are believing, the Bible never said it. And if you check it, it's true. For example, there's no place in the Bible where it says that three men came to visit Jesus. They only said that wise men came to visit him and they gave him 3 gifts. So like if you check some of all these things, it not really align. But for me, it's just, I believe that for me to be misunderstanding or confusion is always a fruit from the tree of lack of knowledge. So that you don't understand something simply means that you don't have enough information. So it just drives me to know much more. And the more you know, the better like you get. Even talking about believing, I believe that if you spend a lot of time like with the Bible, and not just with the Bible, but with some people that have answered some of the questions that we have on the faith. They may not answer all your questions, because as I just realized recently, the ways of God are truly past finding out. But to a large extent, you will be kind of satisfied. Not satisfied because your questions have been answered, but satisfied because there's even somebody that is answering the questions. And you know that either now or at eternity, all these questions will still be answered. So that's just it, my brother.
I mean, like, I guess the journey from, I like, honestly, I think that, so just like I would say, you said like music comes naturally to you, like something that comes naturally to me, and sometimes it's very annoying, is just to think about like things a bit more profoundly. I'll just be there and my mind will just wonder like, why is this like this? And will literally, it's like, you just go and I'm off like questioning and trying to answer, and like, I give the answer and I think about the answer, I ask questions about the answer, like just by myself. Right. So like trying to get to the profundity of issues in life and like things, right? I'll say that every single time I'm thinking about like scripture, or I'm thinking about I mean, I read and like I read different kinds of authors all over the place. But like when it comes to scripture, there's just a depth.
the conclusion or like the expression I can give to like scriptural things is just you get to a depth and it's a point of listening and like trying to get an answer, right? That you're like the answer you get makes you to say it's like is a deep like bro, there's no word. See, today I'm trying to understand what that expression is like. Like there is literally no word. But it's like, you know that's it's like it's so deep. It is deep. And like you know you have not gotten to the roots. But at that point, it's okay. Like at that point, you have touched something. Like you don't reach somewhere. And like for your sake, pause. Like because bro, you can go deeper. But like every single time I find myself like at the point of like I just pause and I calm down. Because I just know that like if you don't stop there, you literally enter a state of like well, let's say out of body experience. It's going to be so beyond you, right? At the end of the day. Like a recent example of this is that so I was like, I don't know if you know, do you know Timothy Keller? It's like Christian pastor and like he like has written a lot of books.
Yeah.
So I mean I bought this book called like On Marriage, right? And so like this week I was not reading like I finished the book this week, but this week I was reading like the last part of the book that I had to read to finish, and I got to a point whereby like you know he was talking about like how marriage obviously like is a reflection of you know like a relationship like with Christ and whatever, and he was quoting like you know Revelations and how like in Revelations you know the church will be presented as a bride and whatever. And bro, sometimes the very thing that is revelation to you, right, are the things that you have thought about, but you have just not thought about them deeply enough. So what was my moment? My moment was basically like, guy, do you know that the perfect, like if you want, from the perspective that I read and like the insight that I got, the revelation I got was really right. For a marriage to be perfect, or like the degree to reach the perfection of your marriage will continue to be an upward trend and like continue to be like you know positive and positive and positive day on day, week on week, year on year, right? Is the extent to which like you mirror it against like a Christ to church like perspective and like a union perspective, like so it's like you have to. So let's imagine it's a sculpture situation, right? So if your marriage is a sculpture, you are going to start as like a block of stone. And so the more you kind of understand what, and I'm not even saying marriage like God to church, but like God, like church to Christ is still like subservient in a way to the point of God to us. Like it's, yes. I mean, through us, we now get a union. The point is what is in heaven, right? Then the representation is just supposed to give us an idea here of what is in heaven. So obviously, like what has happened now is that like
we are with what you have said so far, you can preach a sermon on marriage because this is it.
Okay, we have swapped the two things, right? So it's that like now it's now like our marriage is X, and so we're trying to like make whatever with God is fit into like what our marriage will be, as opposed to like
the marriage.
Your marriage is the person that entered 100 level. Like we have switched so that like it's like God enter 100 level and like he has to graduate to 400 or 500. But it's like no, it's your marriage that entered like 100 level. So what is 101?
Exactly.
What is 102? What is 103? And like bro, you are a sculpture, you're a stone, and you have like the chisel. Like you have to break out. You have to like look, okay, if this is like the statue I'm trying to present. If this is like the statue I'm trying to present, right? Like this is the sculpture. What exactly am I supposed to look like? And so you chisel away like these stone bits that are a bit contradictory and do not reflect like what union with like God should be, or like what a Christ being a bride to like Jesus like at the Revelation should be. Like you chisel that thing away. If your aim and your objective is like to reflect a Christian marriage, like if that is your goal, bro, you will chisel that thing away until it is literally the same sculpture. Of course, you might die and it's not a perfect reflection. But I was listening to R.C. Sproul, I think it was last week or this week, right? And he said something that's like, it's quite audacious. He said that like, he believes in perfection. Like, you know, that part that like, oh, Jesus was like, oh, nobody's perfect. But again, right, there's also another part of scripture that's like, be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. Those two things sound contradictory, but they are not. Why are they not? Because they are not because like, okay, if you are now like in adaptation with Christ, like what happens is that at the end of the day, the potential for perfection exists. But guess the caveat is that it is extremely difficult. Like, for you to be perfect is literally a lot of work. So what obviously he says is that like perfection is literally possible, but it is just nearly impossible to achieve because of the constraints that you have. Also because like, you know, we never fully give up ourselves to like fully follow and literally do what is required for that perfection in essence. But
yeah, so this thing that you just said about what you just said about like giving up yourself. So let me just weigh in a bit on that. It is not nearly impossible. It is actually impossible for human beings to be perfect in God's standard. It is not possible. That happens to be why the Holy Spirit was released to us. In fact, if you read Romans chapter 8, I think it's verse 26, either 24 or 26 now, that says that we don't know what we should pray as we ought to, but the Holy Spirit makes intercession to us. So that's for the groanings that cannot be uttered, can be left for another theological study. The main point is that we don't know what to do. Like the way we are, the sin nature, like the Adam nature in us, will not even allow us to be in that perfect, synergy with God. But which now brings what you said, what you were saying, to bearance, that the Holy Spirit has been released unto us. But it is how much of yourself that you release to the Holy Spirit that actually, brings about whether you're 50% perfect or 70% perfect. I was telling my teenagers on Sunday that there is no way that God said, I'm going to share this level of Holy Spirit to this person or this level of the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit came equally, even in the dramatic presentation in Acts chapter 1 and chapter 2, where it came like tongues of fire. It was the same. They not say one tongue was larger than the other. So it's the same measure of the Holy Spirit that is actually placed in us. However, it is how much that you yield to Him. Like the Holy Spirit is a constant. We are the variables. So if I walk with the Holy Spirit 90% and you walk with the Holy Spirit 95%, you would be 95% closer to perfection than I am. Not because the Holy Spirit has a problem, but because of how much you are ready to yield to the Holy Spirit. So these things they are there for us to find out and explore. That's the beauty of the whole thing.
See, about God, one thing I've learned is that the knowledge that you have and the experience that you experience are very different. If you know, but see, you can know PhD level and your experience is primary 2.
No.
It's so crazy, bro. Like that's literally sometimes like that's how I feel, right? It's so like the resistance, like because obviously what is happening is that you by yourself are fighting yourself. Like it is a fight against oneself, like at the end of the day, because you are the one that is limiting yourself from like whatever that can possibly happen or whatever you can possibly do.
Exactly.
at the end of the day now. But like it is not, it's not a pseudo fight, it is an actual fight. Like it is a real fight. Like the thing is actually like we are living the real fight, like, oh yeah, now go and raise the entire grave. Try am now. Try am now, do am now. Like try and do it. We go to the hospital, hear everybody, try am now, make we see. Like so it's like we through like the, will I say, the experience of doing the knowledge required now puts us in a position whereby like the knowledge sometimes stops to count. And the only thing that is valid is like the work that has happened, right? Okay, how have you worked with God? How have you like experienced like the work that has happened? The knowledge is only good to the extent of pushing you to do things. But like, if you can't, like, if you know PhD level and like you're in primary two, bruh, the exposure in action will still be primary two. Like, you will not go beyond primary two.
Yeah, that's it. So with all these things now, all these things you have said now, you cannot say you are struggling with the faith now. We're supposed to write book, as a matter of fact.
I'm so like, that's what I'm telling you, right? That acting out, me personally turn like, I don't want to call his name, but like there's a guy that literally very famous guy, an apologetics guy that he passed away, and then like the controversy started when he died. That he was doing this, he was doing that, and whatever. I'm like, it's a very dangerous thing. If you know that like you have not been refined, be careful how much you like. There needs to be care and balance with what you are trying to preach and how your life is, right?
True.
If not, like
True.
you do more damage than you think you are doing good. So a lot of the times you might have knowledge of loads of things, but the knowledge must reflect like action in you. Obviously, there are situations whereby like you might find yourself in a room and you just can't. You just have to talk, right? Because at that point, like you are literally a vessel. It's like you get content where God has give somebody else, and it's like no other person for that role fit deliver. So it's like, bruh, open your mouth and just talk. And then just deliver what needs delivering. Like say what needs to be said. Let people be blessed how they need to be blessed. But like once you are done, it's always more important to always verify the extent to the words you are preaching or you are talking about and the life that you are living. Because if there's a mismatch,
your own life.
If there is a mismatch, aside the people that like are self-ordained like critics, like there are some people that like their job in life is to tell you that man of God, look at what you are doing. But aside those people, like is that you like there's that scripture where God was like, he was talking about the little children, right? And then he was talking about like how the weight of taking little children, like God's children away from him, in the sense of if you dare take somebody away from me, it is better that they hang your leg with like rocks in the depth of the sea and they leave you there than for you to intentionally try and take people away from God. And like sometimes our action and inactions do the same. We just don't realize what we are doing, in the sense that like imagine you went to go and preach like a very beautiful sermon or whatever, and then somebody somewhere find you where they don't supposed to find you, or where they don't supposed to find who preached that message.
That's the irony.
Bro, that person, like the extent to which that person would doubt the next time has just increased enormously. So you have just done damage.
More harm than good.
Yes, so but on the flip side, sir, like I think you can set yourself up for reaching a standard, in the sense that like I think I was listening to, what was the person's name? What was that TD Jake's daughter that got pregnant at a young age, and then there was a whole issue. I think it was Sarah Jakes. So what Sarah Jakes did, like now she's like a pastor and whatever. Sarah Jakes at the point that like when she came back to Christ, like after the whole issue, and she like owned up to like everything that happened in her past life, she said that because now she knows she has been called, what happened was that when she realized this was her path, like pastoring and whatever, she brought somebody, like they brought somebody into her house so that the message she's preaching, she will match it. Like there was literally an accountability person that was living in her house. Like the person moved in, and that person's job was that, baby girl, you cannot be preaching this on Sunday and be living different. Like that person's literal job was that, like, guy, act like what you're preaching, act like what you're saying, act like what you're telling people. That was somebody's role and responsibility in our life. And of course, like if you have that kind of like intense accountability and somebody in your life that is pushing you to like the standards and level that you're placing, right? Like I think it can also work out positively. So like that's the flip side of it, whereby like you can also like preach, you can also like say all the knowledge, but just ensure that like you have a plan to like match up to everything you're saying. If you don't, for me, my own opinion is whether you shut up. Just keep quiet. Just shut up.
You're correct. You're very correct. That's why when I see, there was a day that I was on my way to church and one of the leaders in the church, I was waiting by the traffic light. Anybody that knows me, in fact, you can't carry me and beat traffic light. Like maybe I book a ride. Once we're approaching the road, I'm like, sorry, I hope you are seeing that light. I don't condone that, because I'm like, that's there's very little we can do for this country. If you look, okay, what are you doing for Nigeria now? One of the very little things you can do. Number one, don't litter the road. Number two, obey traffic light now. So there was a day that I was going to church and I saw one of the leaders in church. The guy beat the lights. What was in my mind to tell him that day? Thankfully, I'm doing my research work for my master's degree is domiciled in diplomacy. I'm also learning how to be diplomatic in my dealings with people, because what was in my mind to tell him is wrong. I mean, what are you going to tell people? What exactly is the message that you think you are rushing to church to preach that you cannot obey? That is outright disobedience. Like, it's disobedience. If you beat traffic lights, if you are listening to this podcast and you beat traffic lights, it's disobedience. It's disobedience. So, what you're saying, or like the life that people live.
My audience did not come here to be judged, please.
But try and obey traffic light, please. So yeah, what you are saying is and I think it's the dilemma of a lot of our teachers and our preachers, but we keep on praying for them. One of the things I'm learning as I'm growing up is that the people that I hold in such high esteem, in fact, somebody said, a man of God is first of all a man before of God join the equation. So we just try to give them a lot of grace while expecting that if any of us, should find ourselves in that position, we have to do better. We have to do better.
Yeah. Nesochi. Like, I honestly did not think that.
So there's one question that you have that. There's one question that I have unanswered. Let me just run through it. No, you asked the second question about my experience at Covenant, like first degree and master's degree.
I know.
Yes, so there's a lot of difference. The rules are much more relaxed at that level. Reason being that, number one, not everybody stays on campus. So they don't have that absolute control. So nothing like a roll call, or you cannot leave the school without exit and all those things. Those things don't exist. And they're also married people. There are people that are big people in industries. Some of my classmates have 3 children, bro. I mean, don't tell him that you should be in the room by 10 p.m. Are you okay? Some of them are even older than our lecturers, like seriously older than our lecturers. So because of all these things, the experience is totally different. In fact, if you ask a master's student who never experienced first degree in covenant to explain covenant investing, it will be a totally different explanation from those that are doing their first degrees. So because of the age gap, there's that disparity.
I just feel like I actually so when I was in Lagos like last month, I actually wanted to go to like Otta to come and see Bomo. When I saw like the distance, I was like, bruh, I rather sleep. But like I actually want to come, and even if it's like a 1-day course or like a 1-week course, you just come and like experience. Because I mean, at the end of the day, right, we talk about it and whatever, like that's where all these things were born. Like, see, forget like I might not even listen to Bishop Oyedepo preachings. Like I think that there's, I mean, I grew up in like a living faith family and whatnot, and I think that more. I don't know. I just have like a lot of questions around like some methods and some of like the preachings and the doctrine and whatnot. But one thing you cannot deny, bro, is results. How it is, guy, results. There's no way you can deny results. Like, you might not understand how that's irrelevant. Like, you might not even there's just every single place. How can you be a pastor and then like, first of all, your church is very successful, right? To the standards of what a church is. And then secondly, to what a church is relative to other churches in the country, by the way. And then secondly, it is, you have an institution, an education institution, like on the primary, like the secondary and the university level, and like all of them are still also like doing well. Like, there's just so, and then obviously you have now written like, I don't know, like 80 plus books or what, like one man, like one human being.
I have some of the books on my table self. Let me recommend them to you, Musa.
Bro.
These two. These are like, I've read a couple of his other books. Oh, yes. And then Understanding Vision. This one you can do it in like 1 hour. These books are, I've read them, but like, they have to still be on this place. So sometimes I need to make reference. So like, you should get them. It will help you.
I honestly think like Bishop Oyedepo is like a model. You don't have to like him. Like honestly, like I think liking a person is irrelevant to learn.
It's irrelevant, very, 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 very relevant.
Like, it's irrelevant. Very. You have to put your emotions aside and just observe. Like, observe the trend. Okay, 30 years ago, where was this guy? Or 40 years ago now, like, where was this guy? Today, 2025, where is this guy and what has he done? And in that whole period, just study how and why. Like, how, let's just study how and why. Like, how did he produce this? Why? How did he produce this? Like, why? How did he produce this? Why? And even flip it. Why did he produce this? And how? Why did he produce this? And how? And that's all you need. Even if you don't even believe in God, like, just look at the man and try to understand what he has done. Because, bro, it is incredible for one person's life.
So look at, if I wish you had come to Canaan land, you would have seen like the ark that is currently being built. Even if like your belief in God is irrelevant, just forget about it. Just see what is going on there. You will know that this man has taught something. And one thing about Bishop Oyedepo, like, let me just say 2 things I've learned from his life. I've been with him, like, I'm sure there's even a particular video of where all of us were together. A lot of people kept on reaching out. I saw you with Bishop Oyedepo, blah, blah, blah. So I've been like in very close proximity with him, and people that are also in close proximity with him. 2 things about Bishop Oyedepo. Number 1, he's a workaholic. I learned that, see, when I was entering secondary school, my dad told me something. He said, work like it all depends on working. and pray like it all depends on praying. Another people, some parents put it like walk as if you have not prayed and prayed as if it has not worked. Some people say walk as if prayer does not work and pray as if walking does not work. But the idea is that apart from like the spiritual activities, which is where I have a lot of challenges with people of the faith, especially in our continent, this man walks. I'm telling you, Bishop Venerable sometimes 2 a.m. Wallahi, this man has not slept and he will be at covenant hour of prayer by 5. At his age, bro. Like, I remember one of our lectures was saying that if I'm this man with all the things that I've achieved, I'll just be on vacation. And you will hear him tell you that I've never been on vacation one day in my life. And it's true. There's no period I say, oh, I just want to go and rest, like I've done so. I mean, even God rested now. God like rested on the 7th day. This guy know the rest. Bishop Venerable does not rest. He's a workaholic. That's number one. Number two, he believes that nothing is impossible. If you have ever had a conversation with him, that man does not believe. Like he did. Even so, when I was in Covenant for my masters, I worked at Covenant Center for Open and Distance E-Learning. Is our e-learning center that we just matriculated our first set of students this year. And so we got to work closely with that man. If you don't go to Bishop Venerable to tell him, maybe he gives you an assignment, you don't go to tell him, sir, it cannot happen. Like, you can't give him that report. People have been fired for trying it. I'm serious. You lose your job. You'll be like, sir, I tried and it didn't work. Okay, goodbye. We get people that make it work. I'm telling you. So like it just believes that somehow, and it's something that I believe that everybody must have, like possibility mentality, which is one of the core values of Covenant University. Like nothing is impossible. The limit that you find yourself in life is any limit that you place on your mind, and that man does not have limits. It was like, I think he was the first person, I don't know if he's in the world, to build a building of such structure without pillars. And they were interviewing him. They're like, how do you manage Faith Tabernacle currently? There are no pillars. And asking that, how this kind of structure, architectural, this thing, there are no pillars. He said, what are the angels doing? That's their job to hold it. Like, they just say something like we're talking about that people can die inside this building. I don't know that angels are holding it. Like, the way the man thinks is no. Bishop Venerable is an institution. If you have ever entered Covenant University, like Canaan land, you can live in that place for years. And like we don't need anything outside. We generate our own electricity, generate our own internet, generate our own water. I mean, so like you said earlier, you don't need to like a man. A lot of people don't like him, but they are working there. A lot of people don't like him, but they are beneficiaries or whatever it is. Yes, now there are a lot of our staff that don't like the man, but he's paying your salary, so your like is in your pocket. That's just it.
See, it's going to be so crazy. I can nearly see the next 10 to 20 years, bro. Like, if I see the seeds of those that have touched something from what this guy, what Bishop Venerable has produced is going to it will be so visible and so clear, because maybe despite our own inadequacies and despite our own flaws and despite it's already being visible here, with Covenant University students, every single place. If you go to a place and there's a CU students, most likely than not, the CU students will be the person that will stand out more. It's just becoming a very normal trend and pattern, currently. And I'm saying that this one is even people are just, getting to the workspace and they're just entering. The Covenant is 20 something years now, I think, but in the next 20, 30 years, when it's a 40, 50, 60, 40, 50 year institution, when it's we don't do 3, 4, 5 decades as an institution, you just be shocked how you'll be in a room and maybe 8 out of 10 guys. Oh, I went to Covenant. 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 Or I'm a pastor here. I'm a pastor in this branch. It's just going to be so weird. You're going to look like cults. But the problem is that I so believe in the fact that like minds attract. See, me more than anybody, like I believe in that thing that like as long as you are constantly gearing towards a particular thing, sooner than later, like you go attract who go make that thing work. Like it's going to be your agency and your action is magnets. And to like magnets you to try and find like the right people. And because those kind of people, the profiles of the people that also want the kind of things are people like you. So what is going to happen is that like you will now be in a room of like guys like you, and guess what? They'll now be like from your same institution, from your same secondary school, from your same university, from your same church, like from your same environment, from your same community, right? So it is not like a connection by design. It's like a connection just because of the principles that are driving the people. And like the core principles that are driving the people would lead those people to stay in the same room and to be making the top decisions, in my opinion. It's going to be crazy. Like you can literally quote me in 10 to 15 years that this will be the case for a lot of things like in Nigeria.
I agree with you.
Anyways, Nesochi, this has been great, man. Do you have any like last words or comments to people listening? You know, like at this point, I don't even know who listens, man. This can go anywhere and everywhere. So
yeah, first of all, let me say thank you for this opportunity. Like, see, you've said things that you like about me, so maybe I can also say a couple of things that I have picked from you. So, I apart from novels and maybe music materials, I'm not somebody that really likes reading. But I remember when I came to visit you, and that thing had a very, very serious impact on my life. I came to visit you after I just finished FA. You took a gap here, and we were going somewhere. I can't remember, like we were going on one hangout or something. And I entered your house, and you were sitting down with shorts, you with a book. So like, me that I've already vowed that after WAEC, I will not see book again. And I was entering university. Now, this is somebody that, like, you are not under any obligation, like, you just want to read. And it's not a thing of for fun, like I was doing with novels or all of those things, but it was just to get information. And it tells. I remember when you started going to this your data analytics thing, I was following it on LinkedIn before I gave up because like the whole figures thing was just twisting my brain. But like you could just see that all this studying and all this stuff has really, really paid out. That's how I started building my own library. You posted a picture, I was telling you take me under your wings. That was joking. So like the way you just go about, gathering information, for me, it has been a very, very huge, challenge, honestly speaking. And then your ability to relate with people. For me, in fact, this is the main thing because primarily I'm learning not to say this. So I used to consider myself as somebody that's an introvert. So you know how you said that Judah can act any role? Like that's me. I've been on the altar like all my life, so I know how to talk to people. But if you really check it, that's not really who I am. So at the end of the day, no matter how loud I may sing, if you touchlight me very well, you realize that I don't really have a lot of friends. Like, I'm just a lone ranger. But like I see how you were able to connect to. You didn't have any enemies. And you didn't have anybody that had a problem with you, like I don't like this Musa guy, or you like just did not like your aura. Like you were able to penetrate every circle. And because I'm doing a lot on diplomacy now, and by God's grace, my PhD is also going to hover around diplomacy. I'm understanding that is a very, very important skill because at the end of the day, to quote Eriga, this life in a market and everybody come trade. So if you're already having challenges with a group of people, you've already shut out your audience. Like, oh, these guys are the unserious guys. Let's look at how people are grouped. The serious guy, the very serious guy, the spiricoco, like all those people have their own circle. Then there's you. You are with everybody. Like it's a very, very rare gift that God has given you. And I strongly believe that at the end of the day, that's one of the things that will open majority of the doors that God has said will be open to you. And it's something that I'm currently trying to learn. So you enter a space, you don't profile people first of all, because I used to do that a lot. Look at who's carrying dreads. This guy must be a wayward child. Move away small. You look at, who is wearing, this guy must be serious, well haircut, and all those things. And then you try to do that. But at the end of the day, even if from a Christological point of view, the message is for everybody. And the gift that God has given us is for everybody. When we start segmenting people, we'll allow them to miss out on whatever it is that we can offer them. And we also miss out on what they have to offer us. So, I must thank you for always being that shining example. Now, for my final words, I believe that life is a journey, and the process of getting to the destination is more important than the destination, especially because if you understand from the holistic grace point of view in scriptures, you realize that, and a lot of people are beginning to understand that you believe is what gives you access into the kingdom of God. However, there are other things. So it's the same way. All of us are going to die one day. So we live to die. Like you are born and you be like, well, start going to where you die. So that's kind of like the destination for some. Some of them is their success. I want to be a branch manager. I want to be a doctor. Those are destinations. But the way you get there is often even more important than the journey. There are a lot of people today. In fact, somebody said that he had a conversation with a medical doctor, not in a hospital setting, but just like they were just talking. And when he found out that the person was a medical doctor, he said he started taking his exercise seriously, like started exercising, started eating fruits. Because like, if these are the people that are going to treat me, I'm in trouble. So like there are some people who can stumble into some places. But at the end of the day, the question is, how did you get there? The journey matters. If you're in school, don't cheat your way through school. You're in a relationship, like all these things, they matter. The little things that we do for our neighbors, our parents, our friends, the friends that we pick, the enemies that we try not to make. Those things, those ingredients are very, very important in the soup that will eventually be our destination. I've used soup analogy twice today because I ate one very mad vegetable soup. I think it's working. But I believe that everybody gets the point of view. So please, the journey is very important. Try as much as possible to be at peace. Even the Bible advises it. Be at peace with all men as much as possible. And, God will help us.
Man, bro. Thanks for the words and also like the advice on the journey. I know that first of all, like you're crazy, man. Like I'm going to go and study peace. I respect people think PhD is a beans. People have to understand that PhD is a commitment. Depending on how long it is, it's a marriage, but it has an expiration date. That's what the PhD is. Because once you enter, like it will take everything from you the same way like a marriage relationship takes everything away from. Like if you do not, and again, the way PhD are structured is that like you are there to solve an actual problem, or you are there to like actually answer a very important question. So like if your mind is not constantly fixated and obsessed about the problem and the question in itself, like guy, you cannot finish. So someone like me now, where will I say, except I have a specific question that I really want to answer, it's like we're dead on arrival. Because someone like me, I get like 10. If you say what's this, I get like 10 questions. I go see make I focus on one for like 4 years.
for 4 years. I will not find the answer in 2 weeks now. Like, they whine me. Like, it's crazy, man. So, I mean, like, kudos to you. I think by the time you're done, you and them, if you're Michael, because if I'm sure they have like plaque for his family in Covenant University. Guy, if his parents have paid school fees, like, I'm sure like maybe like 2% of the school fees of the entire Covenant University came from like the Ikoyi family.
I'm not sure about this information, but I think they gave him a discount. I'm not 100%
Are you serious?
sure. But I think they gave him a discount. Yes. I remember one of the matriculation, they mentioned their name. They mentioned their name. I think my first they mentioned their names. The Ikoyi family or something.
All his siblings, so like, bro, he reached to mention the name, bro. Like, he reached. If don't worry, I love you, bro. Anyways, there will be another episode for like, obviously, like, we don't know when, but I know that there's going to be another episode. Perhaps like when you finish your PhD, perhaps like before it. But do you already know like what you're trying to solve for a PhD? Like, what question are you trying to answer? Like, do you know what your parent statement is already, or not yet?
Yes. Yes. So I have two, but I'm trying to focus on one. The first one continues from my master's. So my master's, I worked on international academic exchange programs. So, in fact, just to give an overview, I was looking at how education can be used as a tool for soft power. Like, you understand public diplomacy, and, Joseph Nye has a lot of things to say about soft power, but I only focused on education. So I originally want to do that for my PhD, like to explore other things apart from education that Africa can use. Because forget what Donald Trump is doing. Most of the wars that are being fought right now, they are ideological wars. Like, and the more influence you have on somebody, the less likely you need to fight. I mean, if I tell you, John,
you want to do your professorship for Africa. You want carry chi. You want to carry the chi so that other prefects, so that if you be Brazil go call you tomorrow like this, they say, come help us. Nigeria, come help us. Like, that's mad. Guy, this convergence, this full circle, is crazy.
Thank God. So I'm just trying to look at how we can explore other things, especially Africa. My study is domicile in Africa. So what I did for my first degree was to interview people who had participated in exchange programs, and to what extent somebody were they changed. Was it a thing of when they got there, it was the US that is now pulling the strings of soft power, or they were able to, change people's ideas. And I remember I had a conversation with somebody, and she told me that until she came to Nigeria, she thought that in Nigeria is thatched houses that are here. Like, she never knew that they build with cement and this thing here. And this was not a very long time ago. So, like, conversations like that, are we able to influence people when we go on exchange programs? That was my first degree. Sorry, my second degree now. So for my PhD, I'm trying to explore other things like arts. We have people like Davido that are into music. And when people listen to Davido's music, do they feel like Africans? Do they feel any kind of connection to Africa? Or is Davido that is trying to produce music, because it works two ways, or Davido is trying to produce music for them. I'm just using Davido as an example. Netflix, I believe, in the pursuit of this PhD, I've watched, if not all Nigerian movies on Netflix, because I'm trying to understand, are we trying to pass our culture out through these platforms, or their own culture is affecting how we tell our own stories? So that's what I'm considering majorly for my PhD. The second one is to look into the boy child, which is like a very huge passion of mine. This is not to speak or maybe say anything negative to the ladies, but I've just realized in my sojourn and in my study that there's more attention on the female child. And it is rightly so, because from history we've seen how the patriarchal nature of the society has, done a lot of damage to the woman, folk, and all those things. However, there needs to be a balance, because whether you like it or not, I did a pseudo study on I think it was on 12 states in Nigeria. I'm still waiting for those people to get back to me in my article. And I realized that like so many, the development ratio is now dropping. All the attention is on ladies in school, ladies in tech. Then the men, we leave them to do other things. Is the idea that women should now climb to the top, or that we should have an equal society where everybody is considered based on what they can offer, not because I've been passed up on a lot of opportunities because I'm not a woman. They say, oh, we are looking for women here, we are looking for women here. And when I check, nobody's doing the same for the man folk. And the assumption is that the man folk is being taken care of, but we are having boys that are underdeveloped every day. So that's also what I'm thinking of. So what I thought about initially was to do 2 PhDs, or a PhD and a master's, so that I can do both of them. But I'm beginning to understand that I also need to start, making money, and there might be a gap, if I do a lot of study without having something I'm doing seriously. So I'm also trying to get a stable job while doing my PhD. But those are the 2 things that keep me as awake. Like if I finish this call now, or this conversation, I can be awake for the next 3, 4, 5 hours just thinking the future of our boys in Africa. Is it secure? And every other country is exploring. My sister can watch Korean movies without subtitles. She knows their language. She eats Indomie with chopsticks. My brother, they have colonized her already without a phone. These are things that we should start exploring as a nation. Like, how can we also start getting people to do our things without forcing it down their throats? So those are just some of the things that are troubling me and will feature in my PhD.
I mean, like the 2 things are very, very like important. I mean, on the second one, right? It's sounding like it sounded like a semi-Andrew Tate, but I know like that's not the intention. Like there's this man I know. His name is Ebuka. Mr. Ebuka. He's in has an organization called like Boys. I think it's Boys International or something like that, and he's doing exactly that, like the ball child. And he travels around. Like now, I think he's in the United States, and it's just about the ball child. And he started really small and just like talking. Like he has an organization that's like focused on doing it. I actually sent his number. I like sent it to your WhatsApp now.
Yeah,
I think you guys have a conversation. I think like maybe you should talk to him too, because he's literally like in the forefront of this, like especially in Nigeria. You guys have a conversation that you understand. Maybe it might inform your decision on what, like if you want to enter or if you don't want to enter. And then I think like when it comes to diplomacy, especially regards soft power, like I think you should talk to diplomats. I think you should talk to like actual diplomats. I can connect you to some that I know of. Like I can connect you like to some good diplomats. Let me just say that. That can, because I think like if you have a conversation and you try to understand also like your own perspective, right? It's because the 2 research areas literally. It can, I think, the 2 research areas can, when you enter it, sound a bit like a world of their own, in the sense of like, there's so many paradigms of, the reasons why like the boy child like is today, the way it is, right? There's so many questions, right? Okay, is it an over focus on women? What's the role of World War II, for example? Like, what's the role of like cultural nuances? Is it education? Is it lack of education? Like there's so many parts to it at the end of the day. But like
I think to avoid epiphenomena is just basically like, the consequence of a thing. For example, like smoke is the epiphenomena of fire, right? To focus on the real fire and not the smoke, right? I think like you have to talk to the people inside. Yeah, to kind of know like, if you tap this thing, I don't want the dust that is coming out. The thing where I tap, now it's I want to understand. Like if I tap your leg, no be your trouser. Where I want they know, like I want to contact your skin, like what is in that skin. But yeah, like you should definitely talk to like diplomats for people like in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and people in the like also people like in what's the name, National Orientation. Like what's the name of that MD? Like there's a ministry or an agency right now. They're responsible for just national orientation. Yeah. Like
orientation agency.
Yeah, those guys. I don't even know what they're doing, honestly. But like, I think because I'm not being oriented, it's they orient me. Now memes, Nigerian meme. Guy, I'm more Nigerian through the memes I consume. I think the most Nigerian content I consume are memes, and I'm not even joking. Apart from music, of course, but it's like I consume so much memes. Like so much memes is crazy. And like it just makes me so culturally like active and aware. So that like I can come back to Nigeria after 10 years, but through memes, I feel like I can relate with the normal guy. Because memes is a currency. Like is a currency. That's just all I'll say.
True.
Anyways, more. Yeah, you have not yet reached Oketa and Uzo hours. I think those were like 4 hours, like the longest podcast I've done. But like this is like in the top 1% as well. But yeah, man, thanks so much, Nesochi, for this conversation. Honestly, thanks for sharing both your views, and also like for the time. It was a bit spontaneous, as I said at the beginning, but here we are, at the end. And thank you to everybody that's listening to this. We do hope that you take on one or two, and that we do hope that like now you kind of know Nesochi better. Hey, Junior, I hope you understand Nesochi's point of view. Let me see, you go get what image, you go call lock. Anyways, thanks everybody and have a wonderful day, guys. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Musa Obed Podcast. I deeply appreciate your time and attention. It really means a great deal. If you find this conversation meaningful, consider sharing it with a friend, leaving a review, or subscribing wherever you listen to podcasts. It helps more than you know. You can follow the podcast and stay updated on future episodes by subscribing. As always, stay thoughtful, stay curious, and see you in the next one.